Welcome to BNN. I'm so grateful for the awesome community we've built together. If you love what you see, make sure to give a thumbs up, share the video, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss any updates. I've been contemplating this story for a long time, trying to figure out how to begin describing the situation. Let me introduce myself. I'm 32, unmarried, and I own my own plumbing business. It's not the most glamorous job, according to some, including my family, but I make a good living and enjoy what I do. There's something rewarding about fixing problems and helping people, even if it sometimes involves dealing with quite literal messes. My sister Amanda, who is 26, is currently attending law school, and I've been paying for her tuition entirely. Yes, you read that right. Her boyfriend, Craig, is a hotshot doctor at a local hospital, but we'll get to him later. Things started to unravel about a week before Christmas when I received a call from my mother. My mom never calls just to chat or check in. It's always because she wants something or there's a family issue, typically involving money. But this call was different. She hesitated as if she was about to tell me something tragic, then dropped the bombshell. I wasn't invited to Christmas. I thought I misheard her at first. But no, she went on to explain that it might be best if I sat this one out for everyone's comfort. I was stunned. We've always celebrated Christmas together. Even during the years I was working long hours to get my business off the ground. My family has always been a bit weird about my job. They enjoy the money I make, but are embarrassed to tell anyone what I do. So I pressed my mom for the real reason. She danced around it, mentioning professional appearances and everyone's comfort, but refused to give me a direct answer. Later that day, I found out from my cousin Sarah that Amanda had told our parents it would be awkward having me at Christmas because I didn't fit into her and her boyfriend's professional circle. My own sister, whose education I was funding, was ashamed of me because I'm a plumber. She worried about how her high-status boyfriend would react to sitting at the same table as someone who works with their hands. The more I thought about it, the more things made sense. Amanda never invited me to her law school events, always changed the subject when her friends asked about me, and never introduced me to her boyfriend despite dating him for nearly a year. The worst part was my parents agreed with her. They thought it was okay to exclude me from Christmas because my job might make Amanda's boyfriend uncomfortable. I spent the day stewing over this information, growing more and more frustrated, not angrily, but with a calm realization that my family, especially Amanda, had been using me while being ashamed of me. I decided enough was enough. If I was too embarrassing to invite to Christmas, my money should be too embarrassing for her to use for law school. I spent a few days contemplating my next move. I realized the situation was about more than just Christmas. It was about years of being treated like an embarrassing secret. Despite the fact that plumbing requires years of training, licenses, and ongoing education, my family treated me like a failure. I chose plumbing because I'm good at it and saw an opportunity. I built my business in the ground up, but to them, I'm just a brother who fixes toilets. Amanda's tuition payment was approaching, and she hadn't mentioned it, assuming it would come as usual. I had been paying directly to the school using her login information, which she gave me when she started because she saw me as her personal ATM. I logged in and saw the upcoming payment of $21,500 for the spring semester. I realized how much money I'd been pouring into her education while she was trying to hide my existence. I called Amanda to discuss her tuition payment. She answered, sounding annoyed, but her tone changed when I mentioned the payment. I brought up what she told our parents about Christmas and how having a plumber brother might embarrass her. She tried to deny it, then switched to damage control, explaining how Craig's family was particular about appearances. I told her I knew exactly how much I'd paid for her law school, breaking it down for her. She tried to argue that I promised to support her dreams, but I said I was done. If I was too embarrassing for Christmas, my money was too embarrassing for her tuition. She screamed and cried, begging me not to do this to her, but I hung up and blocked her number. My mom called, crying and guilt-tripping me about ruining the family and Amanda's future over a misunderstanding. I pointed out that Amanda was ashamed of me, the same brother paying for her tuition. My dad called, angry and demanding I reconsider, calling me selfish and vengeful. I asked how I was a selfish one for not wanting to spend thousands on someone ashamed of me. None of them apologized for how they treated me. It was all about how I was wrong for standing up for myself. My aunt and uncle called with similar guilt trips, but offered no help themselves. Amanda had told Craig about everything, hoping he'd cover her tuition, but he started asking questions, realizing she hit her brother because of his job. He broke up with her, saying her actions revealed a side of her he didn't like. Amanda tried calling me from different numbers, threatening and begging. I laughed at her threats and told her she should have thought about the consequences before deciding I was too embarrassing. She had a breakdown, showing up at our parents' house, unable to pay tuition without me. Amanda finally showed up at my shop, causing a scene in front of my staff and customers. She screamed about how I was ruining her life. One of my loyal customers called her out, pointing out how she was biting the hand that fed her. Amanda tried to argue, but realized she wasn't getting the reaction she wanted and stormed off. My business continued to thrive, and I felt relief with everything out in the open. No more pretending or being the family ATM. My parents tried to reconcile around Thanksgiving, needing help with their mortgage, but I declined, suggesting they ask their successful lawyer daughter instead. In the end, Amanda dropped out of law school, unable to secure loans without a co-signer. I grew my business, hired more employees, and remained friends with Craig, who turned out to be a decent guy. I felt liberated, finally free from the family's toxic dynamics.